Understanding forgiveness. Ephesians 4:32. And be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake had forgiven you. Welcome back to day 25 of Faith for Every Day. Today, we are diving into a topic that touches every aspect of our lives: understanding forgiveness. Ephesians 4:32 tells us, "And be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake had forgiven you." Forgiveness is essential to our faith. It is both a gift we received and a calling we extend to others. But let us be honest, true forgiveness is not always easy. It requires humility, grace, and a heart aligned with God's will. Forgiveness starts with understanding how much we have been forgiven. Each of us, at one point or another, had fallen short of God's glory. Yet, through sacrifice of Jesus Christ, we are afforded complete forgiveness, a clean slate, and a restored relationship with our Heavenly Father. This act of grace is undeserved, yet freely given. When we struggle to forgive others, it helps to reflect on the enormity of God's forgiveness towards us. Remember the parable in Matthew chapter 18, where Jesus tells of a servant who owed an unpayable debt but was forgiven by his master. However, the same servant refused to forgive someone else who owed him a much smaller amount. Jesus used this story to remind us that those who have been forgiven much are called to forgive others. So, what does forgiveness look like in our daily lives? Here are 3 key principles to keep in mind. Forgiveness is a choice, not a feeling. Waiting until you feel like forgiving someone may never happen. Forgiveness begins with a decision to release the offense and trust God to heal your heart. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. Forgiving someone does not erase the hurt or dismiss accountability. Instead, it frees you from bitterness and allows God to work in the situation. Forgiveness is ongoing. Some wounds take time to heal, and forgiveness may need to be repeated as God works in your heart. Be patient with yourself in the process. Extending forgiveness is not only an act of obedience, but also a path to freedom. Unforgiveness binds us with chains of resentment and anger, while forgiveness sets us free to live in peace and joy. It also reflects the heart of Christ to those around us, pointing them to the grace and love of God. If you are struggling to forgive someone, take it to God in prayer. Be honest about your feeling and ask God to give you the strength and perspective to release the offense. Forgiveness is a process, but God is faithful to guide and equip you through it. Today's challenge is this: identify one person you need to forgive. It could be someone who hurt you recently or years ago. Take the first step by praying for them. Ask God to bless them and to heal your heart. Then, as God leads, consider reaching out to restore the relationship or simply release the burden in your heart. Thank you for spending time with us today on Faith for Every Day. Forgiveness is a journey, but it is one worth taking. Join us again tomorrow for day 26 as we continue to grow together in faith and love. Until then, may the peace of God guard your heart and minds.